Good morning and welcome to day 2 here in Birmingham. I would say sunny Birmingham, but I'd be lying.
Yeah, I actually love this weather because I'm coming from sunny California and I'm actually quite sick of it.
Oh, okay.
So this is nice.
Fair enough. We hope you enjoy rainy Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham.
So thank you very much again for coming and joining us today here in the theatre. Now, throughout your career, you've done a lot of things. You've been music, you've done some great stuff, voice work, you've done acting. Is there any particular kind of genre in those that you would love to do that you've not quite done yet?
That's a great question. I think the biggest passion of mine currently is producing. My sister and I actually have been able to kind of dip our feet in that. We produced a film together about a year ago. But I'd like to do more of that, whether it's, finding material through a book that we fall in love with and end up optioning, or even creating something from the ground up, whether it's for television or film. Still, of course, in the entertainment world, but kind of behind the scenes, which I think would be really fun. I'd also love to do some stage work. I'm really hoping to do some theater in the next couple of years. But right now, mainly just focusing on continuing to write music and work on Steven and the Goldbergs, and I'm really enjoying that right now. So to add more is kind of scary at this moment.
You're busy enough, it seems, frankly. But for you, how did you kind of get involved in the Goldbergs? Since you started off and now you've got promoted to like regular cast. So how did you get involved in that right way back in the beginning?
Well, I've actually known the creator of the show for a few years now, and we've been good friends. And when the show first started airing, he was like, hey, there's this character we've been talking about called Lainey, and we really want to cast this character. Would you be interested in playing this role? We've only mentioned her, we haven't seen her yet. And I already was a fan of the show. I adore Adam. I love his writing. I think he's really smart. I love that it's based on his life as a kid. And I said, absolutely, I'll be a part of this. So, I started on the show as a recurring, and I did 2 seasons, and then it was kind of a matter of, well, you're kind of part of the family now. I'm now dating, Barry Goldberg, and it just made sense to make me part of the regular cast, I think, which was really, really a cool opportunity for me. So the past 2 years, I've been feeling even more part of the family, and I'm really honored to be a part of that show.
And what's been your favourite particular scene that you've had to shoot in that series?
Well, it's not an episode that's aired here yet, but just a little inside scoop as to the beginning of season 4 I'll give you guys. I would say the episode that we start season 4 with, which is kind of our ode to Breakfast Club. We usually start each season with kind of a nod to John Hughes films, and The Breakfast Club is a favorite of mine, and so I'm able to kind of do a take on Molly Ringwald in that episode. So for me, one of my favorite scenes was probably all of us getting detention in the library and kind of having to figure out a way to escape. So, of course, Troy's character, Barry, tries to go through the ceiling, a la the movie, and ends up right back where he started and doesn't get across the school. He ends up right back in the library, unfortunately, which I think is really funny. So that's one of my favorite episodes and one of my favorite scenes.
And what's a typical kind of shooting day like for you on that particular series?
Well, we do one episode in 5 days, and we always get weekends off. It's a pretty nice schedule. I mean, definitely there are days where it's quite long. It can be up to 15, 16 hours. But usually our days are about 12 hours on set. So I'll start really early in the morning, and I'll get in my 80s wardrobe, and I'll get in my 80s hair and makeup. And then from there we'll start rehearsing and start filming. So we'll usually shoot about 10 pages a day, which can take up to 12 to 14 hours.
Wow. And do you do anything to kind of keep yourself entertained in the times when you're not shooting? The set moves really quickly, so there's not usually a lot of downtime, but it sounds silly and everyone makes fun of me, but I always bring a book on set because I'm kind of the bookworm, so I'm always reading something in between takes. But usually most of us are either in our trailers watching TV or watching football, or we're just goofing around on set. I'm really close to Haley and Troy, who play Barry and Erica, so we're usually doing something together, whether it's playing Cards Against Humanity or just gossiping or catching up on Instagram. And is there a favourite Cards Against Humanity card that you have?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh gosh, they're all so dark. What's my favourite Cards Against Humanity card?
Because there's so many, let's flip it. If you could create your own card, what would you do?
Oh, that's good, I like that. I think my card would be... As a nod to Steven Universe, I would make a Steven card, and I think my card would be, I am a fusion, ... So you have to fill in what kind of fusion you are, and you can make up anything in the world.
That's nice.
It's not quite as scandalous as the Cards Against Humanity ideas, but that's the Steven pack I'd make.
And it kind of would make people think, though.
It would. It would.
So we're going to open the floor to questions, and I believe I know there's one lady at front who's already asked if she can ask questions. So we'll go straight to you.
Hi Amanda, nice to meet you.
You too.
Ali and AJ and 78 Violet was the soundtrack to my childhood. I love seeing you in the Goldbergs. My question to you is, have you always enjoyed the art of acting and singing, and what motivated you, drives you to continually aim for success? You're an inspiration to a lot of people, and what do you say to them? Thank you.
Thanks. That's such a nice question and statement. So I probably started my love for singing and acting when I was about 9 years old. I really knew this is what I wanted to do, which sounds crazy, but I think you really do know at a young age. I started singing in church mainly when I was growing up in Seattle. So I would either sing duets with my mom or my sister, or trios all together, and we'd usually harmonize in church services or school plays. And I think from an early age, I just knew that this is what I wanted to do. And funny enough, a workshop flyer for an acting school came across my mom's desk, and I remember coming across it and looking and saying, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. And it was basically to do a month-long workshop, kind of learn about the certain techniques and behind the scenes and how exactly it works to shoot a commercial and how it works to shoot a TV series, and just kind of get some of the basics down. And then from there were quite a bit of scouts there. It ended up being like a legitimate thing. So from there, I found my agent, and it happened to really make sense and work, and it was done in a really genuine way. But I would say anyone that's really trying to pursue the arts, I think just lessons, study, learn, read, take classes, do as much hard work as you can. Some of it is going to happen by luck, and some of it is going to really be a lot of hard work and perseverance. So I'd imagine just kind of keep going, and there's a lot of rejection, but that's okay, and you'll get over it, and it's not the end of the world. And I think when you love it, it's a true passion, and nothing can really stop you.
You recently did the Disney film The Secretariat. Now, how did you get involved in that? And also, you sang on the soundtrack for that as well. What was that like for you to do that? Because that's not only that, you're on a Disney soundtrack, it's a big movie. And what was it like? And did you have any nerves or trepidation about doing it?
I was definitely nervous because, Secretariat is not only an iconic American story and a true tale of this incredible, athletic, powerful horse, but also about a real family that surrounded that horse. So I was the daughter of the owner of the horse, and I got to work with Diane Lane and John Malkovich and some really incredible actors that I learned a ton from. It was a really, really cool process to shoot that film, and we were able to actually shoot on really famous racetracks all around the U.S. And to be a part of the soundtrack was amazing. The director and I had become really close, and he knew that I was a singer and a songwriter, and he asked me if I would lend my voice to the main song for the film, and I really had a blast doing it. He wrote the music, which, initially when you're a songwriter makes you kind of nervous to sing other people's work, but I really just said, I'm going to dive into this. It's not something my sister's a part of, which made me a little nervous, but it was kind of nice and invigorating to know that I could do something on my own as a solo artist just for a second. It was really cool. I was definitely nervous being in the studio, but once I had gotten the groove of the song and made that connection with the director, I was really able to take off. It felt really good.
You seem to enjoy kind of challenging yourself and pushing yourself to do different things. Where do you think that drive to kind of go forward every time comes from?
I don't know. I think that drive is just kind of built in you. You either have that or you don't. And I think when it comes to persevering the industry, I think you need to have that drive. Like I said, there's a lot of rejection, there's a lot of no's. There can be a lot of yeses too, but usually it's far and few between. So I really feel like for me, I've been able to kind of meditate quite a bit and just kind of sit back on what I've accomplished and just be truly thankful for what I've been able to get. And then from there, that's really driven me to keep going. I see how my work has affected people, and it's really moving. I'm here because of you guys. I mean, just the fans of Steven Universe alone have have greatly inspired me. It's incredible what that show's done, and it just has so much heart and so much warmth. So I think just loving what I do is really the driving force behind the confidence I have to continue.
And you mentioned Steven Universe, which opened up the kind of voice acting part for you. How did you get involved in that? And is there any other projects that you would like to voice act on now you've kind of got your feet wet in it?
Yeah, I love voice acting. I've been at it for a while, but with voice acting, it's such a specific community. So there's kind of a very small group of voice actors that tend to work constantly. And then for the other people that are auditioning like myself, it's really hard to kind of plant your feet in that world. So I actually auditioned for Steven Universe about 3 years ago. And the director happened to really like my voice for Stevani. And I think it was just the way my tone maybe came across, that I was kind of able to play this crossbreed of this male and female together as best friends into one. And it just worked. It clicked. And I think when you know you're right for something, you know you're right. And this was something I really wanted. And I had already been a fan of the show. So the fact that Rebecca gave me a chance to be a part of it was really cool. So it's really my first real voice actor gig. I'm really hoping to do some film. I would love to break out into something for Illumination or Pixar or DreamWorks. It's definitely reaching a bit high, but my goal is to keep auditioning and just see how far I can make it. I would also love to voice more stuff for Cartoon Network. I really love working for them, and they've been a pleasure. I mean, I would love to voice something on Adventure Time as it's coming to an end, because I just think that show's genius. Same with Bob's Burgers. I mean, there's so much I love. I'm such a fan. So I would really do anything that they would let me do.
And you mentioned yesterday that you're a fan of Sailor Moon. Now, if there was another animator you could provide a voice for, such as, I don't know, say Sailor Moon type anime, which would you choose and why, do you think?
What voice would I choose?
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a great question. You know, there's something so cool about Stevani being that they really have combined these two characters to play one, and that's been a really big challenge for me. So I feel like I've learned a ton from that role. I think next I would love to play some sort of superhero or even animal. There's a lot of really great animated shows and films that are really centered around animals, like something like Madagascar, or being able to play, you know, even a dog or a cat. I saw Pets recently and I just melted. Like, I would love to be able to play an animal. I think it'd be cool and it'd be a challenge, because there's so much voice work and so much research that goes into playing a specific animal. You really have to kind of throw your entire body into it. And it's interesting that, you know, you don't just stand there in front of a mic. You are really getting active. So after a voice session, I'll just be absolutely exhausted, because playing Stevani, a lot of it's really physical. So whether it's grunts or fights or sword fighting or punches, you're constantly putting your body and your energy into it physically. So anything that they kind of asks for physical energy, I love. I kind of thrive off that.
And is that what you think helps you when you're doing something like Steven Universe? Because it's kind of a ensemble cast recording, isn't it? So when you've got all that cast in the room, there must be an incredible energy off of that. Does that kind of help feature performance?
It's so helpful. I know there are some shows where each actor records on their own in a booth, but the way we record Steven Universe, we're all in a big group, all in a circle standing, and the energy is so palpable in the room, it's incredible. So I'm usually standing in between Steven and Connie, and I'm able to kind of pull from their energy and their laughter and just how they speak and how they interact with each other, and then kind of make it my own. But it's really neat to record with other actors, because that's what I love to do. I love actors. I love who they are. I love how creative they are. I love the energy they bring to the room. And it just makes it go a lot smoother. Even doing, you know, the performance I had done for the episode Mindful Education, doing Here Comes a Thought as a duet with Estelle, who plays Garnet, was really cool. So we were able to stand there together and harmonize. And I couldn't imagine doing it alone. So that was probably a highlight of my recording for that show.
So if you have a question for AJ, please feel free to stick your hand up and I'll bring the microphone around to you. So let's get this gentleman here in the front.
Hello, Amanda. My name is Omar.
Hi, Omar.
Hello. Before I ask my question, I just want to say Insomniatic is one of my favourite albums of all time.
Oh, thank you.
So, thank you, and Alison.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to say we really miss you so much, because Ali and AJ were literally my childhood. And I just want to know if you're ever going to make music again, because Hot House was a great song. It's been about 3 years. I can't believe it's been that long. But
It's been so long.
I know. I just really want to know if you two are, working up some magic in the studio at all.
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm so glad you like that record. It's been a long time, and I think next year it'll actually be 10 years since we recorded a full Ali and AJ record. We're actually going to be releasing new music next year, and I'm really, really excited. We've been in the studio since March writing, so we're kind of just trying to gather the best material right now. We have about 20 songs that we love, and we're starting to really narrow it down to about 11 or 12. And we actually start production on the first 3 in December. So as soon as I get home from the UK, we're going to start getting in the studio and lay down vocals, which I'm really excited about. So you will have new music next year.
Thank you. Can't wait. And
Thanks.
make sure you come back to the UK to perform and tour for us.
I would love that.
We miss you so much. So thank you so much for
Thanks,
coming down.
Omar.
It's nice to see you again.
You too. Thanks.
And a question over this side.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I was just wondering, do you have a gender or a concept of a gender in mind when you voice act for Stevoni, or is it more focused on the character as a whole? Does it play in your head a bit, as in? Yeah.
It does. That's a really good question.
Thank you.
I tend to hear it before I say it, and I think that's what helps me. I don't really see it as two genders. I tend to see it just as two best friends, and then from there I'll take little mannerisms that they each have and make it my own. It's so weird because people ask a lot, like, how do you play that? Because it's confusing. Sometimes I'm more Steven, sometimes I'm more Connie, and sometimes there's a perfect blend of the two. And it really depends on what Rebecca, the creator, wants in that moment. So a lot of times she'll give me really helpful direction. If we just fused, she might want a little more Steven. Or, if I'm more fearful, she might want the fearfulness that maybe Connie dictates. So it really depends. I go between the two. But I don't really look at it as a gender thing. I kind of just look at it as a friendship of two people that are so connected and so close, they happen to make this one person that is genderless.
And for you, I mean, as you just said to my mum there, 10 years since you were now releasing a record, you had a hit single during that time. How did you keep yourself grounded when you get that? Because I was talking to someone yesterday and your name came up and he was saying, I remember that song when I was in the States traveling and it was on all the time on the radio and we loved that song. So how do you kind of keep grounded when you have that much success? Because a lot of people can lose it and go completely off the rails. How do you find to keep yourself grounded?
I think it helps centering yourself with people that are going to be honest with you, and they're going to tell you if you might be getting a big head, or there might be attitude showing, or you need to calm down a little bit. And I think everyone can go through an egotistical moment in their mind, and then you kind of need to sit back and just go, we're all people, we're all the same, we just happen to do different things. I mean, I look up to people of all kinds who happen to not be in the industry at all. I mean, for me, I think it's helped growing up in LA my whole life and not feeling like I'm a kind of big-eyed, bushy-tailed thing from this other state. For me, I've just kind of grown up in the middle of Hollywood and I'm kind of used to it. And I think growing up with my sister, we're so close that we tend to bounce off each other really well and we're really honest with each other. And I try not to surround myself with people that are going to give me a big head or maybe have a big ego themselves. My parents are really grounded, and I've just been raised in a specific way where we're really all equal. There's nothing to boast about. So for me, it's just always been kind of a natural part of the way I live. I don't really look at anything we've done as this wild, great success that is above what other people have done. I just look at it like, I'm grateful. I can't believe I had a song on the radio and people happen to know my name. It's really cool. So I take it more of in a thankful route than anything else.
And when you work on the movies, TV shows and things like that, occasionally you take or get given mementos. Do you have a particular favourite memento from anything you've done that you have holds a special place in your heart?
Oh, that's such a good question. I do, actually. I'll never forget, we were at a signing years ago, my sister and I, and a fan had come up to us at a signing booth and had left us a little note. And it was so cute. It was a little kid, and I remember it was one of those boxes where it was like check yes or no, and I think he had written 3 things, and we thought it was so cute and so funny that we ended up framing it and putting it in our studio. And I remember it asked, does Disney own you? Do you like ice cream? And do you like bendy straws? And I just thought it was so random and so cute. I was like, I love that those are your 3 questions. And I remember we just kept the boxes blank and we framed it because we just thought it was adorable. So that's probably the most random but sweet memento I've ever gotten.
That is very cute. That's good. Right, so we've got time for a couple more questions. I've got one here from a lady.
Hiya.
Hi.
I think The Goldbergs is such a great show, but what actually drew you to the part of Lainey?
Thank you. I love the show too. I think there's something about Lainey that is so brutally honest. She's got this kind of dry wit about her and this sharpness that some of the other cast members don't have. They have another strength about them that's funny. And I think she's just kind of brutal in a really funny way. And I think that there are ways to play her where she's more bratty on some days, but most of the time I just kind of keep her as grounded as possible. I personally really like Lainey. And I think that dating Barry this long now has kind of centered her and kind of made her come a little down to earth, because I think for a while she was a popular girl, and I think she felt like she was bigger and better and could get a job and could get anyone she wanted. And I think now she's kind of like, I don't want that in life. I just want someone that makes me laugh and treats me like a princess. So I think that their relationship's really sweet, and I think that what drew me to Lainey is just her pure sense of humor, her sentiment, and her love for life, being raised as an only child. She's really close to her dad, and I think she's learned to just kind of go with life as it takes her in different directions, and she's handled that really well.
And you mentioned earlier that you like to read and you're interested in producing. And there's a trend for adapting books into TV series as well as movies. Is there any particular book that you've read that you would love to adapt in?
Oh, that's a great question. A lot of what I love has already become adapted. I would have to say, I think the Elena Ferrante novels. I don't know if you guys have read any of her work, but there's something so beautiful about her life growing up in Italy and kind of the journey that her and her best friend take in that first book. I would have to say her work is something that's really inspired me lately, and I would love to adapt her novels. I'm sure they're already taken, but that would be something that I think would be incredible to adapt.
You never know until you try.
True. I should look into that.
It's your next big project. And you've worked with some great directors. You were on Super 8, and you also worked with Pete Jackson on Lovely Bones. Is there a director that you really want to work with now that you've not done? It doesn't necessarily have to be like a mega director, but is there someone out there you really admire their work and think, I want to be in their project?
Yeah, I think for me, directors like Matt Reeves, James Gray, Paul Thomas Anderson, those are all people that are definitely on a large scale, but they're not necessarily, the fame of Steven Spielberg. I mean, to work with the directors I've worked with, I'm really lucky, but I think that the directors that I mentioned, those are people that have managed to make beautiful art, film after film after film, and really seem to know how to handle their actors. So I think to work with one of them would be an absolute dream. It sounds really unrealistic saying it out loud, but I would really hope and dream to work with directors like that.
And there's also a trend in TV at the moment of crossing over and doing crossovers. If they could cross over the Goldbergs with anyone, or maybe even on an animated sense cross over the Steven Universe with any particular show, what would you love to see them do?
Well, it's been talked about quite a bit online, and I think it'd be fascinating if the Goldbergs did a crossover with Stranger Things, both being based in the 80s. Obviously, one's a drama and one's a comedy, but I think it'd be so interesting to do something there. Maybe if, Sean, who plays Adam, was involved with the kid storyline and with Eleven. I just think it'd be so interesting. I have no idea how they would do it, but I think it'd be really cool. I think for Steven Universe, I would like to see them cross over with the Powerpuff Girls, just because I'm a huge fan of the Powerpuff Girls. I don't know what that would entail, and I don't know what that storyline would be, but maybe if there was an adventure where the girls had to watch Steven, and you know, he had to learn their ways and learn how to fly and learn what they do. I think that'd be so cool. And if they kind of learned how he's grown up and maybe met Pearl and Garnet and Amethyst, I think it'd be so neat to see that crossover.
That sounds certainly good. There are a few people here that I could see where that was going, ooh, they were
Totally.
screaming at the possibility of that one. So we've got time for at least 2 more questions. So if you have questions, stick your hand up. And this gentleman here, I'll bring the microphone to you.
Good afternoon, Amanda.
Hi.
Going back to your music career, one of my favourite songs from Anya and AJ is Potential Breakup Song. I just want to know which one is your favourite to record and why?
Thank you. I love that song too, actually. That one has been around for a long time and I still hold it really close to me. I'd say one of my favorite songs to record was probably Closure. There was something about that song when Ali and I wrote it that I just felt like this is really going to be the start to a really great record. It was kind of one of the first songs we had written on that record, and we ended up actually starting our live show with that song during the time of touring. So there's just something about the production and the vocals on it that to this day, if I listen back every once in a blue moon, it just kind of brings back really great memories and makes me think of that full record. It sums up kind of all of it. I love the lyrics. I love what it means. And yeah, there's just something about that song that is really, really close to me out of the whole Insomniatic compilation.
So the final question then is going to be from me. If you could have an animated series based on your life, how would you describe the animated series, and what particular character would you like to play yourself, or is there anyone you would love to play as?
Oh, I love that idea. So growing up, I actually had a flying squirrel. And I know it sounds crazy, and they're illegal in a lot of countries, but in the US, in California, they're not. And I got one from my mom originally, and it kind of became a family pet. And I remember thinking, this would be such a fun animated series about a group of flying squirrels that are best friends, and where they go and where they adventure to. And it sounds absolutely bizarre, but I think it could be really fun. So I would say it would probably take place with flying squirrels as the center animal, and then follow different animals in the forest. So, you know, there might be an owl involved or a fox. I've given this some thought, if you can tell, but not enough thought, so I need to think about it more and maybe pitch an idea. But I would say it would be an animal. It would be an animal-based show, and I would hopefully lead one of the, I'd hopefully voice one of the lead squirrels.
And you also get to fulfill your dream of voicing an animal too.
Yeah, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me and give a massive round of applause to AJ.
Thank you so much. Thanks, you guys.
And she will be in the signing area, which is to my right, and for the rest of the weekend, she'll be having a break shortly, but if you want to go and meet her at a table and say hello and get a sign for